Hey everyone, this is Greg from London Bridge Bricks and welcome to my review of set number 75292, the Razor Crest. Now I was lucky enough to get one called the Razor Crest, and LEGO have since changed the name to the Mandalorian Bounty Hunter Transport, which I think doesn't sound nowhere near as catchy, and it is what it is. But anyway, the set comes with 1,023 pieces, 5 minifigures, and retails here in the UK for £120, or if you're in the US, $130. Now LEGO were quick to come out the blocks to tell us about this set 6 months ago, and the big burning question is, was it worth the wait? So along the top then, you've got this kind of very common Star Wars white greebling, except this time of course, we've got the Mandalorian with his very Florentine brassy bronze steel helmet looking down here. And of course over here, we've got the ship itself, the Razor Crest, flying through space, chasing something. And you can just see the Mando and the child there kind of helping Mando to fly the Razor Crest. And probably being told off at the same time as well. And then you've got the Mandalorian logo down here and our usual suspects all lined up just across there, showing our 5 minifigures that come with the set, but we'll be talking about those in just a moment. Round the back, well, the main image is basically showing all the Razor Crest with its panels down and Greef there loading up some bad dudes in carbonite. And then you've got the Scout Trooper there firing on IG-11, and then dotted around the edges you've got some action shots, and then just over here we get this find the secret code to unlock this ship, and that's the upcoming Skywalker Saga game that comes out in 2021. But anyway, that's the box art. Let's take a look and see what this ship looks like once it's assembled. First impressions then, well, the ship has quite a nice presence about it. Anyway, we'll come back to that in just a moment. First off, let's take a look at these minifigures. Okay, so let's kick this off in style, shall we, with arguably one of the best troopers out there, and certainly for a lot of my friends, this particular Scout Trooper is their favourite kind of form of stormtrooper. They absolutely love him. Now, I can see why as well. I mean, he's pretty cool looking, but he's not quite my favourite, at least not yet anyway. Ask me another day and I might say he is, but I do like him a lot. He's got a hell of a lot going for him as well. I mean, he comes with just a small light pistol, which kind of makes sense for the type of trooper that he is, but it's his helmet. That's the outstanding thing about this particular trooper. I mean, look at that white moulding as well. It's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? I absolutely love it, the way it kind of curves around the face area. But also, if you look at the mouth section, where his kind of filtration would be, I just love the way it juts out. It's kind of very reminiscent of Darth Vader. And around the back of the helmet, you've got these lines printed on there to give it a little bit more detail. And you've got those black sections there. And coming around this part, around the front, you've got this visor area as well. And that's all helped by, of course, by it being dual molded as well. So that's how you kind of get it looking so clean and as good as it looks as well. Face wise, well, he only comes with one particular face, and well, it's not an angry clone, but it's kind of like a more of a concerned kind of look, isn't it? He's kind of just about to break into a frown or something like that. But very rarely would you have a Scout Trooper without his helmet on, because they do, after all, looks so good. I'm liking the printing on the front around the mouth area as well. I think the very tiny black lines you've got in there on top of the grey printing, I just think looks really good. Just adds it lots of depth of detail. Now, talking of lots of depth of detail, look at the front of that torso. There's loads going on there. Now, of course, these troopers are predominantly got white armour. So because of that, you kind of got to use a lot of clever printing there, like the grey printing, the thinner black lines, the thicker black lines there, just to give it that depth of detail. Now, what I will say is I'm loving the way that they've actually printed out all the pockets and everything like that, all around the kind of rib cage area. I think that looks good, and along the belt there, I think that looks absolutely fantastic as well. Around the back, a lot less going on, but that's fine because that's as good as it needs to be. I'm liking the backpack, the smooth, round, aerodynamic backpack. I think that looks particularly good. And you've got the belt there that only goes along the top of the torso. No printing on the hip, no printing on the back of the legs, no printing on the side of the legs, nor on the side of the torso. And the arms, well, they're just black. Now, really, they should be a little bit more detail in there, a little bit more white. But I've got to say, given the choice, when I want white arms or black arms, I go for the black arms simply because it kind of breaks up all that white, doesn't it? And then round the front of the legs, we've got a load of printing going on there with the knee pads and stuff like that. And I think it looks really good. And looking at it, you can see it's a very clean cut looking symmetrical trooper. So this is definitely one of my highlights of having the Razor Crest set. This is of course Grif Karga. How cool does this character look? He's not only a cool minifigure, he's a cool character in the TV show, but he's also portrayed by a very cool actor, Cole Weathers, as well. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that he comes with 2 pistols as well. I think he's fabulous. And I don't know, there's just something about 2 pistols that I kind of just find very cool. Maybe it goes back to when I was a Tomb Raider fan or something like that when I was a kid. But I always seem to like figures that come with 2 pistols. But anyway, this is of course the guy that is kind of like the leader of the guild of bounty hunters, and he's the dude that hands out all the bounties to all the different bounty hunters. So he's quite an important character, and in some respects he's a bit of a rogue. He's kind of not the good guy, but he's not necessarily the bad guy. But either way, you kind of want to be on his side. Anyway, his hairpiece, I think that's a really good choice of hairpiece. It's got a nice little texture going on there. And look at that face. I mean, that is Cole Weathers, isn't it? I've got to be honest, I mean, I'm not normally into minifigures that have got moustaches, but he definitely makes that moustache look pretty cool. He's got a nice smile about him as well. And he comes with 2 different faces. In fact, he's got that smile there. Looks like he's just kind of kicked off a pretty decent going deal. So he's kind of happy with himself there. And then of course on this one, yeah, that's the face of a deal that's fallen through, I think. He's not looking too happy at all, is he? And with that in mind, let's pop that hairpiece back on again, shall we? Anyway, let's bring him back round again. Yeah, he's looking cool. Let's just straighten that up just a little tad. So yeah, so let's take a look at that torso, shall we? So we've got a few different types of colours going on there. We've got some browns, we've got some orange, we've got plenty of red, and kind of a bit of a kind of dark burgundy in and around all that as well. Just along there, you've got like a pattern along his torso as well that you can kind of see on that vest area. And then you've got these great big buckles. They've got one going across there with some orange buckle pieces on it, and then you've got that belt there just going along the bottom of the torso above the hip area. I've got to say, that does look really good. There's some really nice fine printing about him. And I've got to say as well, he's got this odd cape as well. If you look on over his right shoulder, you can see it's kind of draped across his right shoulder, and then that cape continues around the back as well. A little bit of Lando Calrissian about it, because there was a dude there that he could look good in a cape, didn't he? Lando Calrissian. I think every different scene he would have a different cape on, but yeah, especially in the Solo movie, I thought it looked fantastic. But yeah, he looks really, really good. So I'm liking the front of the torso, plenty going on there. Around the back of the torso, yeah, less going on there, but you know what? It's as good as it needs to be. There's some nice printing going on there, showing off the creases, and then of course round the back of the legs and just around the hip area, it's just a plain kind of dark orangey red. Then along the sides of the torso, yeah, not a lot going on there. There's no printing there. You've got this different coloured arms as well. That's kind of cool. That kind of breaks it all up. And then on his legs as well, there's no printing there on the side. In fact, there's not even any printing on the front of the legs. But I will say this though, he's a fine character to have, and he's just an exclusive for the Razor Crest set too. So here he is then, the kind of fistful of dollars, the Clint Eastwood of the Star Wars universe, the Mandalorian. And this of course is the Mark I Mandalorian. There's the same one that actually came with set number 75254, the ATST Raider. I still really like him, and it's not a big deal to me that they haven't updated him with the latest Beskar armour. He's still got some really good things about him that I like. And well, one of the things is, let me just turn him around very quickly. Let's get this. Let's speak about this bit first actually. It's his rifle, or like I like to refer to it as his kind of disintegrating pronged blaster. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It is. It looks slightly awkward because it's so long, and it would have been quite nice to have been able to have something to attach it to on the back of maybe the Mandalorian. But of course, we've got this kind of stiff cape here. But what I'll do is I'll just pop that off, and then we can take a little bit of a closer look at him. I still think he's a cool looking figure. I think his helmet's really cool as well. I'm loving the colour of it. It's kind of like this slightly satin battleship grey there with the black print going across the front. It does look pretty cool, doesn't it? Of course, in the film, in the latter stages of it, it looks a bit more brassy, almost a Florentine kind of look to it. But anyway, we've got this one for the time being. Maybe next year in 2021, we'll get a slightly updated version of it. But one thing that is glaringly missing, so I can forgive the armour, but what I can't really forgive is this. Underneath the helmet, we just get a black face. There's nothing there, it's just a very bland black face. There's nothing going on there at all. Of course, you don't get a second face on that. There's no dual darkness going on there. But I just think at this stage, they could have at least come up with a face. I mean, they would have known who the actor was by this point. And sure, it wasn't until the end of the show that we actually got the reveal. But anyway, for now, we're just stuck with that, which isn't terrible. So anyway, so back to the figure himself. So we've got this cape then, and I think the material of this cape's okay. It's quite stiff. Maybe a soft one would have been slightly better, but I'll pop that up like that just for now, just so I can show you the rest of what's going on with his printing. So on the front of his torso then, we've got this little combination, it's very skiff kind of deserty kind of colours going on here. We've got the oranges, we've got the more sort of browns going on, and the yellow as well. So you've got the orange of the shielding, you've got the browns there of the buckles and the belts and everything like that, and then you've got the yellow cloth going on behind all that as well. I gotta say, I do like his belts that he's got going on there. The belts himself, you can see along just above the torso there, or just below the torso, I should say, above the hip. You've got some chargers there, you've got some shells and some pockets, and you've got those shells on there that are going across his chest. On his chest, of course, you've got the slightly more orangey armour, and you can just make out little glints of shimmering silver prints there, just to show off a little bit of battle damage. So it's popping around the back there, and it kind of, all this good printing continues around here as well. We've got a continuation of the orangey kind of shielding as well for the back of the torso. We've got that belt that continues around across his back as well. And of course, you've got those shells, and I think that's maybe just a big buckle there that joins what's going across his back to his belt as well. On the back of the legs, yeah, nothing going on there. There's no printing on the hip. There's no printing on the back of the legs. There's no printing on the side of the legs. There's no printing on the side of the torso. You've got just brown arms there. It looks absolutely fine. It will do for what it is. And then around the front of his legs, we've got plenty of printing going on there, but it's because he's got this very mismatched looking pair of knee pads. But I don't know, it's one of these things. I always think the Mandalorian is very representative of the Star Wars universe, which to me always feels like it's a very, very well worn in universe where fashion doesn't really, I don't know, necessarily have a place, at least not for kind of normal folks, and maybe certainly not for bounty hunters anyway. But any which way, he's a very cool minifigure to have. So here he is then, the child, or as he's otherwise charmingly known as, Baby Yoda. Now this really is a kind of a mini figure. I think he's kind of cool though, and I gotta be honest, I think Lego did an outstanding job of this. The body itself, you know what? It's just a normal baby body with green hands, and I gotta be honest, it actually looks all right. There's on the actual body itself, on the front of the torso, there's this little tiny bit of printing, and you know what? It's as good as it needs to be. There really isn't a lot that has to be done with it. It's the right colour, of course, of what he was wearing all the way through the show. But of course, the main thing, the thing that could have gone terribly, terribly wrong, of course, was the actual face, the head itself. I mean, yeah, would I say it's cute? Yeah, it's kind of cute, it really is, but I don't know, those dark eyes, but then it's got the pupils in there, so it's not like it's suffers from like something like what the big Yoda buildable figure is. Now this particular figure is kind of semi-exclusive. Now there's going to be a new buildable Baby Yoda coming out, of course, and he comes with that as well. So for now, at this very moment, this is the only set you can actually get Baby Yoda in. But for what he is, I mean, I'm gonna be really interested to know actually how much this figure goes for on something like Bricklink or something like that, because I think he's definitely going to be one of the most sought after minifigures of 2020. But let me just pop him off here, because the one thing I do want to show is the clever and that's that they did with the head, and that's doing the wrinkles. See the wrinkles there? I mean, that's pretty good going, isn't it? That's nice texture in there, and good moulding as well. And talking of moulding, it's just quite a rubbery sort of head, really. I mean, there's a Kit Fisto figure, and I wouldn't say he's quite as rubbery as that, but it is fairly rubbery in terms of what you normally get minifigures coming in. But I will say this, I think Lego did an absolutely outstanding job of the child. Last up then, we got ourselves IG-11. Now he's quite a cool looking character. He's slightly awkward looking, especially when you look at him on the side here. So he comes with two weapons. He's got this sort of mid-size blaster, and he's got this really long rifle there attached to his back, which I don't know, it just looks a bit awkward to me, especially like that. It's just like he's got something that's kind of just stuck out, like another hand or something on his back. It just, I don't know, for me, it would probably look better if that rifle wasn't attached in the way that it actually is, or maybe not even there at all. I mean, he's a funny figure as well, because he comes with both of these weapons, but really, I don't know why Lego just didn't give him a thermal detonator or something like that, because I've never known a character in a TV show want to sort of self-destruct so many times as he did. And for me, I was absolutely creasing up when I was watching it. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. You know, any small issue that was occurring at the time, the Mando would try to get them out. And of course, this guy was just kind of trying to self-destruct, kind of adding more anxiety to the level of the Mando's stress levels. But yeah, it was kind of funny as well. And it was a really good character to have as well in universe. But looking at him as a minifigure, well, I don't know, look at him, he's kind of weird looking if you ask me. He's got this battle droid body, and then he's got this head that looks like something like a wheelie bin. I mean, it's just bizarre, isn't it? I really think it is just kind of odd looking. He just looks all out of sorts. But anyway, he's a cool character. His printing actually on his head is actually exclusive to this set as well. They didn't have to do that because you have IG-88, but this one has just got a few more sort of sensory parts printed on it. But all in though, I have to say, I am glad to have an IG-11 in my Star Wars collection. So during my Razor Crest live stream then, once I built it, I've got to be honest, the first thing I couldn't wait to do was swoosh it around. I mean, it is really quite a swooshable set. It's really, really nicely balanced, and it's got quite a decent weight about it. I think the balance comes from these two cylindrical engines. It just feels just right. The only problem with it being swooshable is that there's no actual natural handle to hold it onto. So if you remember back in the day when the 20th anniversary Slave 1 came out, you had this kind of Technics handle that used to pull out. You could hold onto that and just kind of swoosh it around all over the place. But you don't have that with this, but what you do get is two areas in particular that you can kind of hold on to it. One is down at the towel area, but you can do this. But the only problem with that is after a while, that swooshability starts aching on your wrists. The only other place I could do it really is just underneath here. Now I haven't got large fingers, or I haven't got long fingers anyway, and I'm certainly not got goalkeeper hands, but you could sort of just hold it here like that. You've got the brick down there, and then you've got those slopes around here on this side as well that you can kind of grip hold of it, and it kind of actually feels quite natural if I'm honest. And if it's a bit too heavy, after 5 or 10 minutes of swooshing around, maybe just hold the tip as well. But just going back to it being so rigid, and this is a super rigid set, you get this Technic construction that goes across here and down here, and what that lays the foundation for really is creating this lovely great big void here for the fuselage, and then on top you get this area here to build the cockpit with the great canopy that's on it, and the escape pod as well. Now underneath there's kind of like one of my negatives on this ship, and that is the landing gear. I mean, that landing gear is absolutely useless. I mean, for a start, if I just pop it down there, look at this, look, it just does that, it rocks around. Now don't get me wrong, it's okay. It's okay. It's not brilliant. I think this is just one of those, and there's very few negatives I have about this complete set, if I'm honest. But you know what? This isn't a jet, some sort of snow scooter or something like that. This is an intergalactic transporter. And intergalactic transporters don't kind of have skis on them for landing gear. The landing gear on the actual source material looks a lot better than that does. But anyway, like I said, folks, that's one of the few gripes that I've got with this ship. Now, if I was going to talk about another gripe that I've got with this ship, well, it's probably coming in with some of this gappage that we've got here. We've got this gappage going along there, this line there, but that's no big deal because that's mainly, you know, like a dark blue and black, so you don't really see that. And you've got a little bit of gappage there on that panel there. But you know what? Those ones are quite forgivable. I think underneath here, I think the landing gear could have been better. The gappage, yeah, I'll forgive that one. But anyway, let's take a look at the front, shall we, along the nose, because I think the nose here looks fantastic. Look at that there. It's got a real kind of presence about it, and an almost towering presence, especially made up using these bow bricks that we've got here. And you've got this nice kind of frontage on it, and it kind of reminds me of a kind of World War II classic bomber, something like a Lancaster bomber or something like that. Maybe you can let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. But yeah, I'm loving this top section as well. We've got lots going on here as well. You've got these lovely great big cannons there, again adding to that kind of towering presence about it. And then over here, of course, you've got the canopy area, and this canopy is brilliant because this is such, I mean, I was surprised, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, earlier on this year, around May time, that I built the UCS A-Wing, and that came with a very similar looking canopy. Of course, the vast improvement on this one is it doesn't come with stickers. These are actually printed, and I think that looks awesome. I really do. So anyway, so let's pop this off because it's got a little handle on it as well. So let's take that off. I think that's nicely done. And then of course we've got the cockpit itself. There's not actually too much going on in this cockpit. All you've got is a couple of very bright red chairs. You've got one console area, and that's actually printed as well. I think that looks quite nice. But there's actually not really like a proper area allocated to the child to actually perch on. In fact, because we've only got one console there, he hasn't got any buttons or knobs or anything like that to mess around with at all. So anyway, so let's take these guys out just for a mo. There we go. Pop them just over there. And then you can take a proper look on the inside. So not too much, but it's kind of quite spacious, but they've just not done a lot with it. But I mean, you know, if you wanted to have the baby Yoda on the back seat, I'd probably just stick a little stud on there like that so that you can see through the canopy for it. Then over here, we've got this this piece here. This is kind of like a semi-coned brick. It's huge, but it looks really good. And underneath that, there we go. Got a little bit of a storage area. I think that's quite a good use of space. Loads of clips used in this. We've got red clips, black clips, all sorts of clips. And it is all used to good effect, I have to say. So let me just clip that back in there. And then overall, you've got this kind of nice canopy shape, which again, I think gives the UCS A-Wing a run for its money. Now, another thing that we got with this set was an absolute complete surprise to me was this. Look at that. We've got an escape pod. I think this is actually brilliant. It's a really nice little build. It takes like 30 seconds or so, but I think it looks great. It really is. And look, in case you're wondering who that is, that's my sig fig. This is pretty cool, doesn't it? So anyway, so let's pop this off, and then you'll see him there. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the one that you get with the Millennium Falcon. But I think it looks pretty cool. I like it. And then just so you can see a little bit more of that Technics construction, take a look in there. That looks cool, doesn't it? Loving it. But it's a really nice little build, that was. And there's a nice surprise to it as well. And it just slots in just at the top there really, really nicely. Now, looking either side of this, what have we got here? We've got ourselves some spring shooters. And these work really well, actually. These are kind of nicely housed just in the wing sort of area. I don't know if you really call it wings or part of the body, I'm not sure. But either way, I think they look really good. And to fire, yeah, they work really, really well. You just press that down, and boom, there it goes. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And then either side of those, of course, you've got these great big cylindrical engines. And I absolutely love building these. Again, though, I really think that these are an improvement over the UCS A-Wing. And please me, if you've actually built the UCS A-Wing and you've built the Razor Crest, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really interested to know because I really enjoy building these. I mean, this whole build was built using like lots of large bricks, what it felt like. And it was only until we got to something like bag 6 that you started doing a little bit more sort of smaller stuff. And I think there was like 7 created for each side. And then you had this one odd one as well. But I think I really do like it. There's something almost, I don't know, I'm kind of loath to use the word Star Trek, but it just kind of reminds me a little bit with the engines being up here, and you've got these the nacelles linking to them. But I kind of like it, and it just gives it that even balanced feel about it when you actually pick it up. Now, of course, around here, there's not really too much greebling going on. But what you do get, you get these giant stickers here. And honestly, if you just take your time applying them, they're actually not too bad. Let me show you that one as well. They look okay, doesn't it? It's not too bad at all. Just really, honestly, just take your time with them, because they're, out of all the stickers that are on this ship, they're the ones that you want to get right. Now around the back, do you know what? That's the only part that universally everyone seems to dislike the most. You know, I can handle this great big basket that's around the back here. Maybe if it was in a different colour, it would look a little bit better. But it's just, I don't know, it just looks a bit bare. But maybe some, I don't know, trans orange or maybe even trans red studs going around there, that would just make it look a little bit better, wouldn't it, I guess? But yeah, I'm loving this cylindrical engine, and it just, like I said, folks, it just really makes it feel nice and balanced. But those stickers, you got stickers on the front here, and you got the stickers down here. They're kind of easy-ish to apply. Probably, just to give you a tip, I would probably apply them before you actually put the bricks on, because it all kind of lines up fairly easy and stuff like that. Here we go. Like that. I do think those stickers look pretty good, but if you just take your time with the stickers, I think you'll be okay with that. I mean, the Razor Crest, after all, I mean, it is a transporter, and like all transporters, you kind of need easy access to lift your haulage in and out. So let's take a closer look at that. So now I've pulled the camera down a little bit. Let's take a closer look at some of these panels, shall we? So we'll start off with this one, the great big blaster panel. Let's pull that down. We've got here like a sort of a bedroom area, like a quarter, sleeping quarters for the Mando. And there's Greef in there, just in case you wondered where he was. He's having a quick power nap. Let's take him out there. There's not really too much going on in this room, but what I will say is you've got a nice little build there of the bed, and you've got these stickers in there as well. Now, just one tip for applying those stickers, before you actually put the bricks in there, do you know what? Put the stickers on first, because I actually started constructing it all first. So all this area was kind of made up, and I thought, well, I'll leave the stickers till last. But the more I was kind of filling up that area, the more I was kind of thinking, oh yeah, I think I should have put those stickers on first. But anyway, it's a cool little area anyway, and it's just somewhere where the Mando can have a snooze. So let's take over this panel as well. The next one's quite a large one actually. So we'll take that down, and then we'll take this middle one down as well. So here we start sort of revealing the Technics area of this, and I'm going to pull down the towel gate as well. And I'm going to do the rest of it too. So let's look, and you can get a really good look at that Technics framework. And it's pretty cool, isn't it? And I like this area here. See that there? We've got these hinges here, so it doesn't have to just stick up like that. If I just hold that, there we go. That goes all the way down as well. Boom, like that. And it's kind of really nicely done. So what have we got going on here then? So we've got the Technic framework, and you can see there, got these pins going through there, and it is, honestly, it's so strong. And that continues all the way along, right to the tail area here. Then inside here, you've got these two bad guys in carbonite. Of course, we know that, folks. They don't have to be necessarily bad guys in carbonite. You've got this guy here. This is a sticker, of course. I've got to say, even though it's on like a sort of 2x5 brick, I do quite like the fact that it is a sticker. Is it me? Is there something kind of retro about it? I don't know. I kind of like it though. So he's quite cool. I like him. Let's take a look at this one as well, shall we? This one's kind of less defined, but then I'm not quite sure what sort of alien he is. I think it's pretty accurate as well to series 1 of the TV show. But I do like it, I have to say. And I do like the fact that all these panels do come off. The problem is, of course, with this particular set, I haven't really got too much to fill it with. But anyway, so let's bring him round, shall we? Like so. And it's just weird, isn't it, to be able to see all the way through it. But yeah, let's take a look at this last panel, shall we? So the left-hand laser cannon, we'll pull that down. And we'll get ourselves a kind of a cupboard, as kind of an area where the Mando can store all his arsenal. And again, loads of these clips, got these particular clips here, got these clips on these bricks. And it's good, it's a good use of space, and I kind of like it. But I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments below about this kind of void of space that's there. I mean, I think it's quite unusual actually to have a Lego Star Wars ship where you have the ability to see kind of right through it. But in a funny way, I kind of like it. Okay, so overall then, what do I think about it? Was it worth the wait, and is it worth the bounty of £120? Well, straight away, let's start off with the minifigures, shall we? For this set, we've got a pretty good selection of minifigures. I mean, starting off, of course, with the child, well, arguably one of the most anticipated minifigures that people have been waiting for in 2020. I think Lego did a really good job of him. I think the designers came up with a really good kind of Lego form of the child. And to a certain degree, yeah, you know what? It kind of maintains some of that cuteness as well. It's going to be very, very collectible and sought after. We've got a kind of a Mark 1 version of the Mando. We've got a great version of the Trooper. We've got a nice version of IG-11 actually. He's got some new prints there for his kind of wheelie bin head. But one of my favourite figures from this set has to be Greef Karga. I think he looks absolutely awesome. But of course, with all these figures, there is one glaring omission, and that has to be Quill. I mean, why did they miss Quill out? I mean, in Series 1, he was a brilliant character, and to a large degree, he was kind of like the Mando's moral compass. And I kind of enjoyed that in that particular character. And of course, he had one of the best catchphrases in Star Wars ever.
I have spoken.
But anyway, let me know what you think about that in the comments below. And then of course you've got the Razor Crest itself. Now I've got to say, I really liked the experience of this build. It was good, it was non-repetitive, and I managed to assemble it in just over 2 hours. Now this build in some ways is actually quite comparable to the UCS A-Wing, and this build improves on that particular set in a couple of areas. You get the printed canopy, I love that, so Lego, please do keep that up. The A-Wing had those annoying, tricky stickers, and you've got those cylindrical engines as well on the Razor Crest, and they were not only better constructed, but they were pinned better to the body as well. And then you have the kind of the overall look and feel of the Razor Crest. And I think this is a good representation of the craft. I think the Lego designers hit all the right notes with it being a cross between a long haul aircraft and a Second World War Lancaster bomber. And it feels just right. You pick it up and yeah, there's a good balanced, sturdy weight about it. And I kind of like that. And I really don't mind the fuselage being bare as well. But there is a thought, perhaps we could get a Mandalorian battle pack with a Quill, along with a speeder and some Jawas, and then we've got some stuff to fill it with. Let me know what you think about that thought in the comments below. For now, of course, this ship is one of the best Star Wars ships I've built in a while, and I think if you bought it, you'd probably feel the same way too. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, why not hop on and subscribe and become a big part of the LBB family. For now, I'm going to leave you with some Razor Crest videos that I think you might like.